Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in the last video tutorial on this series, we fixed an error in the authentication. Okay, so this time we are going to just go ahead and then work on retrieving the user details from the database. Okay, this user details from the database and then displaying it in our profile. Okay, so let's just go ahead. So if you remember in the previous tutorials, we were able to write this code, which is the fetch user info. Okay, when we were adding the user data, we wrote this code. Okay, and this time, as we are going to retrieve the data, there are some things I want us to just go ahead and do. First, I will come into the user model here, and then copy the whole code here, and then create a new model called user info model dot that. Okay, when I do that, now I will paste the code here, and the only thing I'm going to take out of this is the token, because I don't need the token. The token is only given when we are signing up a user, and I'm not going to do it that here. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and change that. I mean, remove that, and then when I come into, oh sorry, let me just go ahead and change this from user to user info, and then change this one to also user info. So this is the model that will hold the user information. And then when we come here, which is the user, okay, we are just going to remove everything except the ID, the token, and then the email. So just go ahead, remove everything. So the reason why I'm doing that is that when you use Firebase, okay, and then Firebase, you use a Firebase to sign up a user or sign in a user, okay, it will only sign up the user using the email and then the password. It doesn't save the details of the user into the database, so you have to find a way. So we are using this for the Firebase where we sign in the user. So we just need the email to sign in the sign in the user, and then we will use this one to get the user ID that we get in return when we sign up a user. Okay, I mean the user ID that we get in return, and then this is the token. Okay, when the session is created for the user, you will receive a token, and then we use this one to save it. Now this model will be used to save the details of the user. Okay, this model user info will be used to save the details of the user. That's why I'm separating it. Okay, so I will save it here, but then when I come here I also have to create another one called final um string user ID, or you can call it uuid. And then when I come here I can say this dot user ID. Okay, so what we are going to do is that we are going to use the user ID here to retrieve the information from here. Okay, when we call the user ID will match this, and then we can retrieve this information here. So let's go back to the scope model and then fix the errors that we have there. So you can see that we have this user here. We are not using that. Okay, but first I will come up here, and then we have list user. I'll create list user info, and then I will name it user infos to hold the user information that we save into the database. Okay, and then I have to import this. Now I also have to retrieve it just like the way return it just like the way we return the list of users. Okay, so I will return it as return the list of user infos in the database, and then info, not infos, info, and then I'll name this as user infos, and then we are returning what user infos, yeah, this way. Okay, so we have this here. Now, I think that's what we have to do now. So now when I come here, which is the fetch user infos that we already have, the code that we already have, I want to change this to user info, and then this one to also user info. But you can see, I think I made an error, which is food item. It's not supposed to be a food item. It's supposed to be user info here, and then we have to change this one to here to user info. You see, this one too, we have to not use user info. So we have to also change this one to user info, list of user info, and then everything works fine. And this side too, we also have to change it from users to user what infos. Okay, because they have to match the same user data type. Okay, that we've created, which is the user info. Okay. So I think we fixed that error, and then when we come to the code where we add the details to the Firebase, when we sign up, we also have to change this from user to what user info, and then we also have to change this one to user info as well, and then when we come here, we have to change this from user infos, okay, to the new list that we created, and then I think everything is okay. So I'll just make sure I'll just change this to user info ID with ID, okay, and then user info with ID. The reason why we say with ID is because you know that when you save details in Firebase, okay, it returns this kind of ID, okay, for you. So we add, that means we are adding that user ID here. Okay, that's how we retrieve the I'm not the user ID, I mean the ID there, not a user ID. Is different from when you are signing up a user and then you get an ID. This is when you are adding a data into the Firebase, you always get an ID return. It's different from the user ID or the UUID. Okay. So I think those errors are fixed now. So now I'll come into the authentication. The first thing I also want to do is to make sure I take this code out here. I don't want to add it here when we are pushing the we are signing up a user. Okay, I want to make sure that when it is successful, I mean when everything is successful here, okay, when we get this ID token return, that means the user has been created in the Firebase successfully. So when everything is successful and then this authenticated user is created, okay, then I want to add the details to the database. But I will change this from sign up to what, sign in, and then I'll also make a check from here and say if, else if, off mode, off mode equals off mode here dot sign up here. I'm just changing, like changing everything here, okay, and then I will change this to sign in, and then this one is supposed to be sign up. Okay, so we have this change. Okay, so now if it is signed in successfully, I want to do something, and it's signed up successfully, I want to do something. Now when it's signed up successfully, I want to add the user information to the database, which is this information to the database. So bear in mind, it's different from signing creating the authentication when you sign in and then the emails comes in. It's different from that. Okay, so I have this, I have that. So this time, this is what I have. Okay, so we already have a code for adding, which is the add info, and also a code for fetching fetching the user information from the database. Okay, so when I come back to this code here, when we are signing up, okay, we also have to add the detail of the user that we just signed up as part of the user details, because if you remember, I've changed the user info here. Okay, I've changed, I mean I've added a new model, which is the user info, and I've added the user ID here. So that means in our user model, we have to also add the local ID when a user is created. This is a UUID that Firebase return when you sign up a user. So this UUID, we also have to add it to this info, the user info that we push into the database. If you check, you can see that we don't have that added here. We only have the email, the user type, and then the username. So we don't even know who this information belongs to. You get my point. This ID is different from a use UID. Okay. So I'll just go ahead here and then create call the user info, which we passed as a map. Okay, you remember we passed this as a map here, right? This one. Okay, and because it's a map, we can also add more to it. Okay, so user info, and then I'm going to it's supposed to be capital I here, and I'm going to add this as local ID. Okay, local ID, which is this field, which is local ID, and then I'm going to where is it, yeah, and then I'm going to do response data. Okay, response body, let me just copy it, it's just the same thing, and then response body, let me just yeah, so we are adding this field to the user info map, okay, so that when we add, we can have this into the database. Okay, so let's run the code and see if it works. So I'll just go to the sign up and then create a new, another CC, like a new user, and then I go another CC at Gmail, com. Okay, and then I'll enter the password as another CC, and then let me just open this, and then let's sign up and see if we get the user ID added. Okay, so it was successful, but let's see if we have the user ID added. Now you can see we have the user ID added. Like I said, it's different from this ID. This is not a user ID. This is just like you add details into your storage or your real-time database. It gives you an ID representing that data, but it's different from this user ID because a lot of people add some dummy. They try to sign up to this. I can't even find where I just added the information. Okay, but I think I would look for it. I think another CC. So let's just look for it and let's see. I think I can't even find it. Nope. Another CC at. I just want to show you. Yeah. Okay. So you can see it starts from this the user UID. Okay. It starts from I think ICZA. When we come into the real-time database. Okay. Come on. Internet. Okay. So when we come to this, you can see we have that ICZ. Yeah. That UID here. Okay. That's what we just saved into the database so that we can use that ID to retrieve the user details. Okay. So now we fix one thing. So the next thing is to write a code to get the user information. You should know that this is different. This code here is different from getting a particular user ID. This will fetch all the user details from the database into a list. But we have to write a code that will fetch a single user information. Okay, so we come here and then we can go ahead and do future user info. Okay, and then we can get user info here, and then we can go use string user ID, and then we have this. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to first get uh a response from the fetch user ID. So I can go final boo. Okay, if you remember, this returns a what, a boo. Okay, from await fetch user infos. I don't know if you remember the code that we wrote, so I'll add a sync here. If you know that when you are doing this, you have to add the async. Let me show you. I think the fetch user infos here. Okay, so we know that it returns a true or false based on whether it was successful or not. Okay, true or false. So we await. Where is it? We await to get a response. Now, when everything is done, we want to create what, a user info here, and then found. We just name it as found user info. Okay, so that means when we find, and then we check if response is true. Okay, because we know it will return true or false. We just want to loop through the data that has been fetched. Okay, so let's go ahead and then create something. Okay, I think by now you know how to use for loop, so that should not be explained. So we can just go ahead and then say user infos dot length and then I plus plus. So we are just looping through, and then we can set if um the user infos. Okay, and then we check the I using that and then we check the user ID if it's equal to a user ID that we with the user ID that we pass here. Okay, that would be the UID that Firebase give us. Okay, so if that is equal to what we just pass in as an argument, then we want to say the user has been found. Okay, so found user, and then we can pass in the user infos. Yeah, the user info I here. Okay, and then we can break from the loop. So this is the code that we are writing here, and then this time we also have to return the final user. So return future dot value. Okay, and then we say found user info. So if nothing was found, then this will still be null. Okay, so now let's go back into our signing. Okay, when we sign in the authenticate, oh wait, it's I think it's down here. So now when we come here, when we sign in a user, that's when we want to get the information. Okay, from from the authentication, I mean when the person sign in. Okay, we want to get the details from the database, so we can go ahead and create um authenticated. sorry, let me just create another um file here. I mean another field here. So we have the authenticated user. Let's go ahead and create one. User info, and then call it authenticated user info. I don't know if you are getting what I'm trying to do here. And then we can also use the same approach here to return the authenticated user info. So, okay, and then we can authenticated user info, and then we return authenticated user info. Yeah. So when we where's the authenticate method? Yeah. So when we come here, we let me just come here. Okay. So when we come here, we just want to say authenticated user info. Okay, when the person sign in, say authenticated user info should be should await um get user info, which is the method we just created, and this time we are using the response data oh, response body, not response data. I think response body, yeah, and then we can use the local ID. Okay, so now that's what we have here. So you know that when you sign up or you sign in, you are always going to get this response, okay, which is the response body, and then we can retrieve this local ID, the email, and then the token. That's what Firebase gives you when you sign up or you sign in a user. You will always get this response, okay, and we save that response into the user details when we are signing up, okay. Now, when we are signing in, we also want to fetch the whole information from the database, okay, which is this code. What is it? We fetch the whole user information from the database, and then we sort out a single user by passing in the local ID, which is the UID Firebase gives out, okay, here, and then we get the authenticated user info for that particular user. You get my point here. Okay, so that's what we have now. Okay, so even here we can also return the user type if we want. Okay, so we can also check the user type. Okay, let's say we can go ahead and say um we can use this as authenticated user info dot user type. Okay, so this is how we are going to use the authenticated user info. So now we have this. Let me just go ahead and print something here. I'm coming. You know that this is the sign in. So I want to print the authenticated user info type. Okay, user type. And then we can go ahead and do this like authenticated user info dot let me just add this, okay, dot user type. So I just want to print it. So now we sign in and then we let me just reload this, okay. It will take me back to the sign in. We've not done auto authentication, so it will always take me back when I refresh, okay. So I just want us to see what will be printed when we try to sign in, but before that, let's go into the main scope model. I think into the main here. um we have this main model, and then when we go to the home page, I think there's something here we did. I want to remember in the home page here, there's a place we were fetching all foods. Okay, fetch foods. So I think it's not here. I think it's supposed to be somewhere. I think the screens. Okay, yeah, screen, and then screen. In somewhere I think we fetch all foods item. I'm looking for this. I can't really tell exactly where this code is, but I think if it is not, it's supposed to be in the home page. Oh, I think I did it in the food details where we were able to fetch all foods. No, it's not here. Anyways, so I think I'll find it later. But I'm looking for a way to make sure that this method runs, okay? Anytime the application loads, okay? Which is this method. Okay, but for now we can just leave it the way it is, and then let's see what we get printed in our debug console. Anyways, I'll look for that code later. So let's try and sign up. Sorry, let's try and sign up. Okay, and see what we get. So sign up. Okay, and then we say another user, say another user at Gmail. What was it? .com, and then we can use another user as the password. Okay, and I want to clear this thing so that you can see what we have printed in our um database. I mean in our console, not database. Sorry. So let's see. After signing up, I don't get anything printed here, which is somewhere. Let me check. What is the code for the print? Authenticate. Yeah. So here is where we are trying to print. Oh, okay, that is for the sign in, not the sign up. Sorry. So let's just go back and then sign in again. Sorry, I use the printer the sign in, not the sign up. Okay, sorry about that. So I'll just sign in with an email that I think I know in mind, and then we can go this way, and then that's come, and then oh, sorry, and then we can someone that's the password. So I think this. So let's sign in and see if it works. Oh, okay. We are getting an error, which is funny, but anyways, we are getting an error. It's saying the sign up was successful, but there's an error. Okay. I'm looking for the print, which I can't see. Okay, I think I'm seeing something here. Another email, customer name. I see I'm getting the details here. Um, so we can see the details is being returned to us, okay, but wait, another user was what was already created. Okay, this is fetching all the user details, which is okay. So I think it's coming from here. Where is it? I think there's a code for here. Okay, so this is where we are showing all the. That's not what I want. So let me just reload the thing and then try again. I want you to see the the code I'm talking about. So still we sign up and it say failed to sign up successfully. So I don't know why we are getting that error. Someone at okay, let me check the email. Let me just use another, I think another user. Sorry, we are all fixing this error together. I don't know. And then we have here should be another user. I think maybe the password is wrong. So let's try again. Let me just clear the console and then try again. Okay, then that means there's something wrong. So let's go back to where the code is, which says sign up. Where is it? Where is it? Authenticate. So it says sign up, fail to sign up. Okay, so why are we getting fail to sign up? Where is the error message for fail to sign up successfully? Fail to sign up successfully. So we are getting this because there's an error being thrown here. So let's print the error here, which is the error. So let me check if that is being printed. The error. I use a print statement, print the error. Okay, this is the error. Okay, so the error, no such message, user type was called on null. Okay, so the reason is we didn't get any data returned, okay? And then we are trying to call user on the hot. We are trying to call user type on this authenticate. That means we are not getting anything returned here. And the reason is because we have to fetch the data. So that was why I was saying let's go into the main model here. That's why I was looking for that code. I don't remember which side have the code. Okay, bear with me. Let's look for this error. There was a place I think I passed. Okay. Oh, all right. I have this widget model which I passed in there. Let me check. Let me check here. And then when I come here, oh, I fetch the foods here. Okay, okay. So I see now. So we can also pass not pass there. I think I won't even do it there. So in the main screen here, I want to just go ahead, okay, and then call this method Richard dot model, okay, dot fetch all. Okay, this is not something I've already created, but then I'll go into my main model, scope model here. Where is it? Scope model. Yeah, main scope model here. And then this time I'm going to create a method called void fetch all. So the fetch all is going to fetch foods. Okay, you know that this is a mixing, so we can have these methods, and then I fetch foods. I also want to fetch users. Okay, I think I have user fetch users user infos. Okay, so I have this, I have that. Okay, and I think now this is what I want. So this is what happened in the main screen. Since we are calling this method here, let me just call it first before anything else. So I'll just put it at the top here. So I have this, which is the fetch all. So now when I refresh, okay, even on the sign in page, all this the method in this fetch all will be called, and then everything will fetch. Okay, so let's try that again. Let's see. Okay, so now let's try and then log in again and see if you're going to get the details. Okay, so someone b at gmail.com. Okay, and then the password is someone. So sign in. Let's see if it works. Still having the same error which says user type was called an null. That means nothing is being fetched. So let's check that method, okay, which is the user model. User model. No, not this one. User scope model. So that means this method is returning null here. So let's write a code here and see if the found user is what we want. The found user, and then I want to just go ahead and print found user. Let's see if it is no. Okay, and go back here and then clear the whole thing again and then run the code. Yeah, so let me look for the found. If something was printed, the found user, nothing was even printed anyways. So that means the error is not even coming from there. So I think we also can also check the response. Okay, print if there's any response that came. Response. Okay, so that's how I normally debug my code. I just write print statement to check if everything is working the way I expect. Okay, so I can write again and then check the response. Okay, so it is returning true, but if you check, oh, relax, why I have user infos here. Okay, so if it is returning true, that means it was able to fetch, but user infos, I'm not getting anything. So let's just check if the user info has something in it. Print user infos. Hello guys, just bear with me, we all fix this error together. The user infos, and then we can also check user sorry. We can also check the user infos. Okay, so we save this and then we can run this, and then let's run the code again. So let's see. We want to, so we are getting through, but let's check the user infos, and then we are getting an instance. Okay, that means we are having some values. So I don't know why this is returning now, because if you are getting some values, how come this is not being printed? So that means this statement is not true. Oh, I think I know why we are not even getting a response. So it's either Oh yes, 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 yes. You know what? You can see in my previous in my previous users, okay, user details, it's only this user with what? The user ID, the local ID, and you can see that it's also this one. So we have to, but I sign in with this one, which is the another user. This is so funny, but I don't know which where this error is coming from. For now, I think local ID here. We also have this local ID here. I'm now confused why, but then if I have this local ID, wait, go back. I sign in with this one, right? With this one. Okay. So local ID. Okay, you know what? I'm going to print the local IDs here whilst I'm looping through. Okay. Um, no, some will not have, so that means it will throw an error. So this will throw an error. What I want to do will throw an error. Oh, yeah. It's supposed to be. Oh, see me. It's not a user ID. It's local ID. That's what I. Sorry, guys. The user info is supposed to be user ID here, right? When I fetch. Wait, I'm even confused. But I think I don't have local ID as a field here. Local ID. I did it user ID. Oh, that's why you have to name the same. You have to do your naming should be consistent. So I think it's here. It's here, guys. When we are fetching, we don't even fetch the response. When we don't even fetch, so that's where the error is coming from. Oh Jesus. So this is here. Okay, we have to find the we fetch the user if local ID. So that's where the error is coming from. Oh, okay. So guys, I think this is the error. So let's reload the whole application again. This is the error. I hope this is the error. So we know that when we come here, where is this? Where is that thing? The authenticate. We are printing the authenticated user type. Okay. So let's try again. I think that's the error. So we want to sign in with another CC, okay, and then we can go ahead and another CC, another CC at gmail.com. I think that's the email that we have here. Another CC, okay. So let's try and see what happens. So we are signing in, and it works. The sign in works, and then we get Let me come here and see the authenticated. Okay, so you can see you see the type which is the customer. Okay, so that means it worked. Okay, so the problem is so we know that it's a customer. So if I change this to, let's say, admin, okay, and then save it, so and then reload the thing again and try to sign in again, you see that we get what let's try it, another CC. I'm even laughing because this is, I don't know why I made that mistake and it took me some time to fix. Okay. So can go ahead and say another CC here, and then let's sign in and see again. We should find admin here. Okay. So guys, I'll leave the video here, okay? I'm not going to remove the error. I mean this error, how to fix the thing. So I think we've already fixed. Okay, so I think you know how you can debug your code. So I'll leave the code here, and then we will continue to I think display the details here later. Okay, so thank you guys for watching this video. Please share the video and then subscribe. Okay, so you guys can leave a comment in the video, I mean in the description or whatever. You can leave a comment there. If you don't like me, you don't like watching me fixing an error, okay, you can leave a comment. Okay, and then I can just cut that part from the video, and then you guys can be cool. Okay, thank you guys for watching, and then I will see you in the next video tutorial.